everybody. Welcome back to another episode of In the City con Cristi. I'm your mayor, CHRISTI FRAGA, and this week we're talking about special needs and autism for Autism Awareness Day and Autism Awareness Week, which is very important. And I have today a very special guest who leads the team at Parent to Parent. I have Fari with us. Hi, Fari. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yes, and for those of you who don't know what Parent to Parent is, it's an incredible organization that was created to give parents with kids of special needs guidance and resources and tools. And so I wanted to invite Fari, and I worked with Fari for a bit at the school district where I got to learn about Parent to Parent, and I receive a lot of requests, particularly at the school board, not so much now as much as I did at the school board, even though I do still get some of those emails now, on parents that just don't know the resources available to them for their children with special needs. We've seen an increase of children with all different spectrums of autism, and there's different ways of dealing with this depending on the severity of it. And obviously early detection is super important, and intervention is extremely important. And Parent to Parent is such a great organization that provides these tools and resources for parents who don't know where to start. And so, as I was explaining to Fari before we started, is In the City con Cristi is a podcast that we created to provide our residents of Doral a look into the organizations, the resources, the departments that exist within the city of Doral, organizations and agencies also that may not be in the city of Doral, but we partner with to provide our residents with all this incredible information that exists. So Fari, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got involved in Parent to Parent, your role in Parent to Parent, and how people can get more information about what Parent to Parent does for residents in our community.
Sure. Well, first, again, thank you for the invitation. You know, for me, it was a very personal experience. I am a mom of a wonderful 24-year-old with autism. So my son David is what throws me into the world of disabilities. Yeah. And like the majority of the staff at Parent to Parent in Miami, we are all parents of kids with disabilities.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that is a prerequisite for those that work directly, for our education support specialists that work directly with the families.
See,
and
even I learn something in our podcasts every time. That's beautiful.
So it is a model. It's a peer-to-peer model, so that's why it's Parent to Parent. And if you notice, our logo it's somewhat of a family helping another family. There's always a heart component in the middle.
Didn't realize that. Yeah,
and so it's really important. That's how it started. We've been around since 1986. So it's been, grassroots from, early on. It's just parents helping another parent. And so now we help more than 1,500 families a year. And, the Parent Center really is there for all the families who either already have a diagnosis for their child and is seeking information, or they might even be concerned.
Right.
There could just be that doubt. Maybe they're struggling now finally in school, or maybe their toddler is just not hitting those milestones. And so they might have that doubt. They might start, doing a little research. They come across Parent to Parent of Miami on the website. And, we hope that they can reach out to us because we can help them in so many different ways. We're helping that family either getting to that early intervention, getting the evaluations to get things started. Is there really a delay? And so we're helping them access those services, or, later on as kids maybe start struggling in school, we're helping them on what special education means. So, again, I get started as a parent, you become this advocate, and, not all the parents get there, but you do have a good number of parents that start not just advocating for themselves, but for the community. And so that's what we are. We are a parent center, just there for all parents, all disabilities and all age groups. So we're going to be helping parents in so many different ways and just getting them to the resources. We have seen many wonderful things happen for students with disabilities where they are, supported, get the accommodations that they need. They start blooming, doing so well in school, and they go on to do amazing things. And so we want to encourage parents not to, there's this frustration and there's this sadness, frustration when you try to seek things that are not there for your kids, or you just don't know. There's so many, the systems they have to navigate are huge.
Yes.
And so they're very complex.
And I think that's the frustration of many parents, right, is that once Maybe the hard part at the beginning is, does my child have
Yeah.
a learning disability? Do they have a disability? It's first identifying, recognizing
yeah.
it, right? Getting it diagnosed, and then entering this, it feels like an endless pit of information that's so hard to navigate, like you said, because it's such a big system. And there really is so many resources out there.
There are.
But it's hard to navigate, understand, digest,
Yep.
and then add the language barrier for many
Yes,
parents
and I was going to
into
say,
it.
yes, and that is a huge barrier. So a lot of the parents, Miami-Dade County is huge. We have a huge Hispanic population. We have a big, Haitian Creole speaking population. So a lot of the parents have this limitation in resources. But, that's what we're there for, because we do provide all our services in English and Spanish. And we
Entonces se
currently-
habla español también.
Completamente. Todo se puede hacer en inglés y en español.
Muy importante, porque
Súper
como sabes,
importante.
aquí en nuestra comunidad somos una comunidad súper bilingüe. Mucha de nuestra población es de comunidad hispana que hablan español, y lo que estamos hablando hoy, por los que no están, a lo mejor no, el inglés no es su primer idioma, es que por el mes del autismo invité a esta organización que se llama Parent to Parent, que es una organización que ayuda a las familias con niños de necesidades especiales buscar los recursos necesarios para sus hijos. Y Fari está aquí con nosotros hablando de la organización cual ella representa, que es Parent to Parent, en cual pueden buscar esta información muy valiosa que necesitan para navegar un sistema demasiado complicado a veces para los recursos que existe para sus hijos.
Sí, y eso es una cosa muy importante para los padres que solamente hablan español. No importa, nosotros todo el mundo que habla en la oficina habla inglés y español.
Perfecto.
Es perfecto. Los talleres que brindamos también los brindamos en inglés y en español. Toda la información que la tenemos en español también, así que no tengan miedo. Nos pueden llamar, pueden empezar hablando solamente español. La recepcionista habla también español, porque es muy importante para que no se sienta que estén ahí como que perdido. Es una comunidad muy grande y es muy difícil uno tener eso de que el hijo de nosotros tenga una discapacidad o el temor. Y a veces no hay recursos, pero sí los hay.
Sí.
Lo que pasa es que a veces hay ciertas limitaciones. Y eso es donde lo que nos aguanta un poquito, pero siempre queremos tratar de enseñarle a los padres que sí hay la esperanza, porque con información y apoyo con otro padre sí se puede lograr mucho para los hijos con discapacidades.
Sí.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that in
Sure.
Spanish for our Spanish viewership. We try to do a little bit of Spanglish here,
Sure.
English and Spanish, because we do have a large population that may only speak Spanish.
Of course.
So one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about with you is those resources that you offer. So you guys don't actually offer the service.
Right.
You put them in contact. Talk to me a little bit about that. You put them in contact with the service that child requires,
Will require,
or family
right,
requires.
correct. So we may not be doing the therapies, we may not be doing, that piece, but we are doing that community linkage, which is really important.
Important, yeah.
Yeah, so we're making sure, for example, if, that child needs special education at school, we're letting the mom and dad know, all right, what are the steps? What documents do they need?
Yes.
How do they request? Sometimes parents reach out to us. They've been struggling for months trying to get through, and they just can't. But because they haven't been doing it properly.
Right.
So we'll help them. Okay, no, it's not just by words. You need to write it out. This is what you're going to be requesting. This is the documents ahead of time.
This is the terminology.
Yes.
I had to learn a lot of that.
A lot of learning.
Yeah.
There's a lot of acronyms that you need
Yes.
to learn once you get into disability world.
Yeah.
And so we're helping. That's why we have the trainings. That's why we offer, different topics and different things, because we want to be able to have parents to truly understand.
Yeah.
They need to empower themselves with knowledge.
Right.
Because once you are empowered with knowledge, then you can really truly become that really
An
strong
advocate for that
your
child,
child.
yeah.
And then hopefully you progress to becoming an advocate for others.
Yes.
And that's what we find. We have our education support specialists, our parents of children with disabilities. There are other parents, typically moms, that have had to change their careers because now their children need them. And so they are in a better place. And now they've gone with specialized training, all the information that they need so that they can help other parents with their one-on-one support. So the information that we provide is very individual. We're working with a parent, whatever their need is for them and for their child and for their family. So it could be different, but at the core, you've got, one parent helping another parent, and hopefully making them be much more successful in, as they navigate, school systems, medical systems, financial, because our kids grow.
Yes.
So a lot of different things that you need to learn, and we encourage them to really come out, because only by going, playing that active role, coming out to trainings, can they get better informed.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a parent of a special needs child yourself, now a young
Yeah.
adult, tell me, where do you see the lack of information or service or help support in our system, right? I talk a lot to, there's a big special needs community here in Doral, of which I've been very active in, and I'm looking now into increasing the opportunities that exist from just within our city for the special needs community. We have a great Special Olympics program and things, but I want to see more of a full service program, life skills.
Yes.
I see the gap in when they become now young adults,
Yes.
and they need the work,
Yes.
and how do they sustain themselves long term,
Yeah.
right, in society.
Yeah, and that is a huge gap, because there is kind of like this cliff that happens when, kids age out at age 22 from special education. And so then what happens? So like my son, he's in an adult day program, but do you have a lot of those? No, you don't. They can be much more specialized to maybe provide additional employment building skills, so that, they can actually, with a little bit more training, more day-to-day support, hold a job.
Right.
And, there are a lot of organizations that are working towards that, because that is the issue. You don't have, there's a loneliness.
Yes.
There's not a lot of, it's hard to make friends sometimes when you do have a disability. So having those programs, there's a lot that is done for when kids are young, right? But our little kids grow up to be, young men and women,
Yeah.
and, they have a
And
lifetime and a lot to, that they can contribute.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot to
Yeah.
offer.
Yes.
And a lot of them high performing. They have
Very
the disability
much.
but high performing. I actually,
Yeah.
in my business, my when I owned the ice cream stores, which we sold, but when I owned the ice cream stores, I employed special needs, and I actually did it here at the city too. I initiated the program because I saw the need, the desire from the community, and the need for education, right?
Yeah.
There was an education component to the community that was missing, to sensibilizar the situation.
Sure.
And so I did it in my business, and I had for 4 years one of my employees who was autistic, but one of the most dedicated employees I had.
That's
And
exactly
he
what
was
you'll
never
find.
late, was very consistent, and they're very creatures of habit, right? Like, well, we're all creatures of habit, but they're like very much a habit. And if you train and you equip them with the necessary resources and education needed for them to do their job, they're like the best employees you could find, because they're just
course.
very dedicated to
Yeah.
what they're doing. And he was so passionate. And I'll tell you, he's one of the employees that knew everybody's name,
Yeah.
remembered our customers. I mean, just very much a great part of our team. And also, like I said, created a sensibility for the employees that worked with him. We would have times where a customer would come in and actually treat him bad because they would get frustrated, and our employees would come to his defense, right? And they would get really mad and like offended that someone would treat somebody like this. And I think that's the component that's missing in our community to create that understanding, is more integration.
Sure.
So I hope to be able to create programs and look at opportunities for life skills and educating our workforce. Our business community on the workforce that can exist from these special needs. Obviously, it's not every job,
It isn't.
but there's a lot.
There are a lot of jobs that are able to, and sometimes you just have to say, you have to slow it down just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what happens in our high-paced society.
that is
we
so
don't
true.
have patience.
No,
we
that is
don't
so
have
true.
patience. So imagine for someone that might take a little bit longer to process a little
Yep,
bit of
you're absolutely
information, or
right.
it takes them a little longer to respond, but it doesn't mean that they can't. So why not be given the opportunity? So yeah, it would be awesome to see, those, let's say, a program that integrates, those life skills, those, employment building skills, so that once you do have, that organization out there, that employer who's willing to give it a shot, and provide those opportunities like you had. And there are organizations out there that are working with young adults. And, you have job coaches that can go out and help. So many different things that can be
he
done.
had a job coach that would come.
Sure.
Actually, he would work 3 days a week, or some weeks it was twice a week because of his therapies and stuff. But one day out of that week, the job coach was there, like training him, and was sitting, even if he wasn't in the back helping him, he was there watching to help him improve on his skills. And so it was a benefit to all of us.
Of course.
And so I cherish those moments. Yes, absolutely.
Awareness, because disabilities doesn't know income levels. It doesn't discriminate against any type of demographics. So, you
race,
can, at some
ethnicity,
pace,
nothing.
It doesn't matter. At some point, you, your family, your friends, someone will be touched by someone who has a disability. And you can just only hope the community will open up their arms and embrace the uniqueness that, our children and our adults with disabilities, have.
Yeah, definitely. Fari, tell me, how can people reach you, reach your organization? Do any events coming up with Autism Week or this month? Tell us a little bit about how people can engage with Parent to Parent.
Well, we're easy to get to. So if a parent is out there and needs help, just a simple phone call, 305-271-9797 is our number. Our intake person will take a little bit of information about you, your child, your needs, and they'll be assigned to an education support specialist, and it just becomes the process. Or they can email info@ptopmiami.org. Same thing. So there's nothing formal. We have referrals from doctors, school system, therapy places, anywhere. Another friend who's telling a friend. So it's really important. It's a parent who has been helped that sometimes is really the one reaching out, saying to another parent, you really need to give them a call. Or going to our website, ptopmiami.org. We've got a lot of resources that are there. So it's a simple referral. There's nothing formal. It just starts a process. And we are there for parents for as long as they need us. So it's
anyone can pick up the phone or email you and say, I need help.
I need help.
Let me ask you another question before we wrap up. A lot of times we talk about the resources and the help the kids need, but the parents need help too. Just emotionally, it's a toll. It takes a toll on parents to digest and understand and and accept that their child needs help, right? And that they may not be a regular performing child in different aspects, whether that's a disability, a learning disability, or a real disability. I think parents need help, in their process, right? Their healing process of this. Does Parent to Parent offer those resources too? Can they connect them to someone who can help them besides the parent community that exists?
Sure. So, you'd be surprised how a parent helping another parent, right there, you've got emotional support. Yeah, that's a very, easy support system. And a lot of times we are on the phone with a parent who just needs to cry. And we cry with them. We cry with them. I mean, we've been there before. So, and it's okay. We always say, it's okay to cry. That's part. Sometimes you have to cry to then lift yourself up and go. So, there is that emotional component that sometimes we feel we're really strong. We don't need to. But, it's not just information. It's not just resources.
It's having that community.
It is, because it is very difficult to hear that your child has a disability. A lot of disabilities are for a lifetime. So I always say, well, we have to get to our new normal. That's what you try to get to, a new normal where the family's okay. So it's not just the child, and that's something also too we work with parents with a lot, letting them realize it's not just the child with the disability, that special need. He or she is part of a family system. So we want the mom to be good, the dad to be good, if the marriage has been integral, because it's a big stressor on marriages. So a lot of divorces, unfortunately. But we want the siblings to be okay. We want this family to go out and feel that they can go out into the world that they live in. And they're going to be supported by others. So we want other community, people to also realize, maybe that child having a hard time in the store, it's, they're dealing with some sensory overload, some other issue. It's not just, this bad behavior. So be a little kind, and those little kids grow up to be, 24-year-olds like my son that sometimes still have a hard time integrating. but you want them to be accepted by those around them. So yeah, for us, and the stress level is very, big. So we're helping them get to the therapies, talk to other people, and having respite, having and allowing themselves to say, you know what, I need help, and opening up themselves to be vulnerable,
Yeah.
to accept the help, because it's okay. Because
Yes.
it's going to be probably a lifetime of, help that their child needs. So it's
Yeah.
a lot to do. So we want
Yeah.
everybody to be, good to themselves and good to the children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Fari,
Yes.
for joining us. I'm super grateful for Parent to Parent, for the relationship that we've been able to create and being able to refer people that I don't feel like I have the resource to be able to help them, but connecting them to organizations such as yours that can help them and being part of that support community, I think is so paramount for people with special needs and families that are dealing with it. It's not just the connection of the resources they need, but that support community, I think that we value so much. So thank you for
thank
everything you do. Thank you for being with us today, for joining us on In the City con Cristi. I'm your Mayor, CHRISTI Fraga. Join us next time to continue meeting the greatest people that make up the wonderful place to live, work, learn, and play, Doral.
Awesome.